contact? All right,
Yes.
so Tony, that's a really great question. Misty, do you mind?
Yeah, no,
Not
dive
at all.
right in there.
So first and foremost, just a best practice on this topic, guys. If you open up your devices, your phones, your laptops, your computers, and you just go on your Google and you type in divorce attorney near me, you're going to get a list of all these divorce attorneys in your immediate area. And a really easy thing to do would be to just call through that list from top to bottom. And to your point, Tony, all you're doing here, folks, is an introduction. So this person's going to answer the phone. Most likely it's going to be, a secretary, office manager, receptionist type person, a gatekeeper, if you will. A gatekeeper, your job is to get past that gatekeeper with minimal resistance, right? So conversation is going to sound something like this. Misty, do you mind being a gatekeeper for me?
Sure.
All right. So I'm calling Cintron divorce attorney. So ring, ring, ring.
Cintron Law Firm.
Hi, good morning. My name is Mark Jaffe, and I'm wondering if you can help point me in the right direction.
I'll do my best to try. How can we help?
Okay. Yeah, appreciate that. So I've lived in this town since 1996, and I've been a licensed financial service provider since 2019. And I recently had a string of clients that had court-ordered life insurance. And when I helped them, they all told me that they had not gotten rates like this. They had not had an experience like this until they had dealt with me. And it occurred to me that there may be other people who could really get a lot of value. Who do you send your current clients to that have a need for irrevocable life insurance?
We usually just, we actually don't have a guy.
So what would be the best way for me to make that easy for you? If I were to come in with some business cards or some calendars or some cups with my company name and that kind of thing, would that make it easier for you to refer your clients to somebody that's local, that's trustworthy, reputable, and been in business long enough to know what they're doing?
Yeah.
Okay. What's a good time for me to come by and meet with the attorney, introduce myself, answer any questions that they may have, and help your clients get what they need so that their families are protected?
The attorneys are really hard to meet with, but I mean, you can swing by the office and, leave all your material.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I can swing by in the afternoon. What time are you all usually in the office?
We usually take lunch from 12 to 1. Other than that, somebody's always here.
Okay, so if I showed up like 2:45, 3 o'clock, there's a good chance you'll be there, and maybe the attorney themselves.
I'll definitely be here. The attorneys, you pretty much always have to make an appointment with, and that's pretty true, guys. Like you're
Okay.
probably not going to get in with the actual attorney.
Okay, great. Well, then I will go ahead and swing by a little bit later on today or tomorrow, and I'll get you that information. By the way, my name's Mark.
Nice to meet you, Mark.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't get your name. I'm sorry.
Oh, mine's Misty.
All right, Misty. Perfect. Well, it's a pleasure chatting with you, and I'll see you later today or tomorrow.
Yeah, looking forward to it. So yeah,
Awesome.
as for the office manager, the office manager is going to be the one that typically is going to take that information. It's very, very difficult to get in with an attorney. Even when, even when you have a really good relationship, I like my personal attorney, he's hardly ever in the office. He's either at court. The only time he's really in the office is when he has meetings at the office, and then he's in meetings, scheduled meetings. Most of them have a paralegal, so you can ask for either they usually typically ask for the office manager. Some of them that do trust planning as well. Good to get in with them. Like Mark, that's definitely up your alley right now with, the annuities and that. Keith, same for you. You guys both are very big on debt-free life, like our law firm, they do estate planning. So can you think where you guys might come in, used to them for that? They do divorces, family law. And then they do some criminal law. So we don't want to help the criminal law people. We probably can't help them if they're criminal issues. But as far as
So you all heard my approach for those types of people. If you'd like to hear a variation, I think Keith probably has something very valuable to share.
Yeah, Keith, dive in there.
I do. Two things. Number one, I wrote more mortgage protection and life insurance than debt-free life and annuities, by the way. So, who wants the role play? You want to do it again, Misty?
Sure.
Okay, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, this is Keith. I'm just checking if I've called the right place. Is this a divorce attorney's law firm?
It is. How can we help you?
Are you guys actually seeking new clients?
Uh, yeah, that's how we stay in business.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Because I actually work with clients who are seeking divorce insurance. And oftentimes they come to me looking for divorce insurance and they don't have a divorce attorney. I was just wondering if they did come to me for that, would you be open to me referring them to you?
Uh, sure.
Okay, how would I go about doing that? What would be the name of the lawyer that I should refer them to who would best serve their needs for divorce?
Matt Foreman would be one of the partners. The other one would be, Carter.
Is there a specific number I should be giving these people?
Um, you can just give them our office number.
Okay, and when they call the office, who do they ask for?
They can ask for either Matt or Carter.
So they would speak directly to them or they would ask for you and you would put it together?
They would speak to me and then usually it'll go to their paralegal, which for Matt's gonna be Shauna. For Carter.
Okay, got it. So I should reach out to Shauna myself and pre-figure this out or just have them call directly to you?
I can transfer you to Shauna. I'm not sure if she's available right now.
Okay. That'd be awesome because I'm inundated some days with clients who might need a divorce attorney because I write a ton of divorce insurance. And I would just love to refer these people to you and create a great relationship. Would that be okay with you?
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah,
Okay, here's my info, especially if you need someone to write life insurance for people getting divorced. You ready?
yep.
Okay, so my different approach was really like I'm serving what they need and what they want and making sure that they want my info versus me giving them my info. That's all.
And social media, guys, post on social media what you do, because that is literally how I found both of mine. You know, mine was my divorce attorney. He handled my divorce. It took 6 years. For those of you who know me, know my story. It took 6 years to get divorced. So we got to know each other pretty well in those 6 years, and we're pretty good friends now. And he called me one day just out of the blue and he's like, "Hey, you do life insurance, right?" I'm like, yeah, matter of fact, I do." I'm like, "What, you need some?" He's like, "No, I'm definitely well overprotected, but," he's like, "I have a client who needs it and he needs it by next week. How fast can you get him a policy?" And I'm like, "Today." And then, we settled that one and then he's like, "Hey, I'm like, "Send them all to me." And then guess what? They talk, guys. Attorneys all talk, even if they're competitive attorneys. It's something over the 6 years we learned. I'd see my attorney was going to lunch with my ex's attorney to talk about our cases. They all talk, they all work together. In the courtroom, they may be like, flashing, but outside, they're all business professionals just like we are. They talk. So if you get in with one, what's going to happen? They're going to network for you. "Hey, you guys got a guy? Because we got a guy." Because that's what happened to me. Then there's a girl who does a lot of bankruptcy, um, you know, for her clients. And she reached out. She's like, "Hey, you help clients get out of debt too?" She's like, I'm like, "Well, not if they're filing bankruptcy." I'm like, if you think we could get them out of debt faster, so they could pay for, but the debt free life, I had to explain to her, it's not the same program you guys, I think, are thinking. But she was like, "I think we could still do a lot of business together." So, and then with the realtor, it was, Kim Pye was like, "Hey, we used to offer mortgage protection to our clients." She's like, "But then all of a sudden, their suppliers stopped offering it because it used to be there were true like mortgage protection plans. And a lot of the banks just kind of pulled back from doing those. They let the life insurance agents, us brokers." So to Mark's point and to Keith's point both, when, if they ask, or to answer your question, Tony, why would I go with you? My reply would be, well, I'm actually a broker. I mean, I work with over 30 different carriers, so we're able to actually shop all the carriers for your clients too. I imagine if they're paying you a hefty premium, they want to save a little bit of money. So if we can get them the best rate out there, that would be a value to your clients, right? So that's the difference between me and a captive agent, where if you're going to like State Farm, or if you're going to like Nationwide, something like that, which is, a captive agency, they're only gonna be able to offer you what they have. As a broker, I can take your client's information and really shop and get them the best plan. That way, they have more time for you to bill them, which every attorney wants to hear that, by the way. They want to hear that they're going to get extra billing. So, kind of go that route. Some of you,
So,
you're not going to be able to say that whole, like I've been, a licensed agent since 2019. So just go that route instead, deflect, which is going to be better.
so the divorce court actually mandates a life insurance policy. Does it usually go for
At least for the
just
Super
final?
18. Yeah, they'll do it. Like say Mark is like, Mark's actually a good example. So say Mark, Mark's the big breadwinner in the house. Rebecca's a stay-at-home mom. They're getting divorced. Rebecca's like, I'm getting child support, while we're divorced. But what if Mark dies tomorrow? I'm not gonna get that child support. And Social Security isn't gonna replace what Mark was bringing in or that child support. So her pit bull of an attorney is gonna say, Mark's gonna take out $1 million life policy. And if, something happens to Mark, you're the irrevocable beneficiary, meaning they can't change the beneficiary either, usually on those policies. It's irrevocable. So it's usually gonna be a term plan because, 10, 15 years, usually typical, it's gonna be in that. Because they only have to carry it to the child's age 18. The youngest child, that is. But just remember, guys, these are also perfect plans because you do not have to worry about them lapsing either. Because if that policy lapses, they are in violation of their court order. So that's why I love those plans. And
Okay,
especially like
thanks.
2 of the 4 I did had major health issues. And we had to piece together whole life policies. Like the one was paying $400 a month by the time we were done with his, piecing together his 2 policies. I'm like, it is what it is, buddy. Like, I don't know, probably should have done this when you were younger. I don't know, work it out with your wife, whatever, but it is what it is. And
Yeah, so just
Hey,
on
Misty,
that
can I
topic,
make a comment?
absolutely.
go for it, Adam.
I'm so sorry, guys. I just wanted to interrupt you because I like learning from Misty every chance I can get. And now Keith, Mark is a given. I always learn something. But, I guess the way that I'm listening to Keith, I think is something that is one of the biggest lacking things that sales agents do. Keith solidified what his objective was 3, 4, 5 times. In other words, he was not getting off of that call unless his message was clearly delivered, clearly received, wanting to know, is there any particular person? What phone number would you recommend? When are they normally available? On and on and on. And the same thing, if you're calling on a lead to sell the client, are you pursuing that conversation in that same mindset where you have your objective, what you need to gather in order to determine what direction you're going to go in with a carrier? Are you being really diligent about getting that information? Circling back and say, let me just circle back about these medications. When they look at all of your prescription history and they see every single medication that's been prescribed, because they do that, right? Things like that, when you're solidifying the sale, do you see any reason, that you're not going to be able to keep this in place? And I really appreciated hearing Keith and Mark that they're nonstop at gathering whatever they possibly can to increase the odds of success, because that's all it's doing. It's significantly increasing the odds of success. So those are my 3 points.
Yeah, good point. Very good point. Goals, guys. You should have your goals outlined, like front and center. Like, what is your goal for the month? We are getting ready to roll into May. So April showers, we started to sprinkle some leaves in there and hit the phone. So the flowers should be popping up here in May because we're planting the seeds, so they should start blooming. But you got to have your goals in front of you. My best months are always when I know exactly, and that's why I keep looking down because I know what my goals are. for May. 20,000 on my pen minimum. That's my goal. I'm not saying that has to be your goal, but that is front and center, right, literally in front of me on a board. And as I get sales, I subtract, so I know exactly how much more I need. You're counting what count sheets, they have that little countdown for you. But have your goals in front of you. So my homework for today is I want you to each post what your goals are on the group meeting. What is your goal for May? Because I'm big on accountability too. So you posting your goal is saying, hey, this is what I'm gonna hit, this is what I'm after. So that way we can go for it. But if you don't know what your goal is, it's really hard. It's kind of like, you're driving in circles, you don't know where you're going. That's your GPS. Put your goals out there. And then really stretch for them. And then if you hit your goal, don't stop. Raise the bar. Because every time I hit my goal, I don't stop there. I don't say I'm done for the month. I say, man, that momentum is really good. I'm going to keep rolling with it. Because that's the best thing, Some people I've seen in sales, they get a sale that day and they're like, man, I got a sale. I'm done for the day. Me, I got a sale. I'm pumped up. I'm amped up. I can't wait to pick up the next call because that momentum is going to flow. It's going to come across. So that's what you want to roll. Keep that momentum going. I'm super excited to be out this week with Adam and Andre and learning, meeting all of our new carriers, learning all the ins and outs of their products. I'll be honest, conferences in the past, Keith, Mark, you've been to conferences, Sandy and Diane, you've been to our conferences. The lineup is just very different than any conference we've been at. So I was not that excited, no offense, Adam, when you first like, let's go to conference. But that's because I was used to going to rah-rah events. This is not a rah-rah event from the lineup I saw. This is like true carriers, true speakers, which is of benefit. It's not, hey, we're going to go and we're going to mediate, or what was it that we were doing where we were meditating? We're not meditating during a conference or listen to somebody talk about how great they are. And, it's a true learning experience. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Don't forget, I want to work on the cheat sheet.
Yes, yep, I'm gonna be taking a lot of notes, Linda, so careful what you ask for, because when we get back, I'm gonna get with you and be like, Linda, this is what I all learned. So if you want to
Okay, we'll
condense
put
that,
it all together in a good sequential thought process so that everybody can just go, boom, this is what they do. This is
Yep.
what, okay,
we're
yeah,
gonna take the old one that we have and just add the new carriers into that.
yes, yeah.
Yep.
Add a couple of things to the old one too, so that there's some other information there as well.
Yep, and you brought up a good point too. I do want to point out, so one thing I noticed, mainly with Prosperity, if you are running a quote and every other carrier gives you that little red dot that says warning, given this one prescription may cause like you an adverse effect where you're going to get sent to an underwriter to review or adverse, and Prosperity is the only one that doesn't have that red dot, just assume that they're probably going to have the same issue. I think there's just a little something missing with their underwriting, how it loaded, because we've noticed some things where it says it really should qualify, and then we go to run the app and they're not qualifying. And like for Jason and I know Mark ran into this, it was because all the other carriers had that red dot, and then we go to Prosperity and we don't see it. So naturally it looks like, hey, this is the best one to go to. I'm finding I think it's just something how it loaded. So just assume if all the other carriers are giving you that red dot for that, Prosperity has the same issue. Like me personally, if I see that there's another carrier that's $1 or $2 difference, or, within real close range, I usually am going with the other one, just because Prosperity is that one carrier that's a little picky, where they don't want to, really trying to see if it'll qualify. Like, early on, Mark had, I think, 3 back to back, and we got an email saying Mark needed more training. And I'm like, I think there's just a little something with the loading. So if you're questionable at all, if they're healthy, go for it. 100% go for it. They're a great carrier, great product. They do offer renewals. I'm excited to have them, but if you're on the fence, go with the other carrier, because you don't want to risk the reputation with Prosperity. You know, where we're getting an email saying, hey, Linda or Layla, you know, can you spend a little bit more time with them? And then I'm like looking, you know, and Layla sending me a screenshot saying, it's sad. Um,
Misty, adding to that, guys, I just got off the phone with Prosperity within the hour for a similar, a case with the similar conversation that Misty's having. I called underwriting. There is an underwriting guideline. It's a medication knockout list. It's pretty thorough. I've downloaded it. I can forward it to Misty.
I think it's on our website, the training.
It's
course.
on Prosperity's underwriting. You can call them and they'll walk you through. So I was able to go through this client's 5 medications that she's under, and one of them had it was an estradiol for menopause,
Uh-huh.
but it has 2 other medications, and it was really hard to quote in the quoter tool. So anytime you run into that kind of a problem and it's questionable, we have the phone numbers for customer service. Call them and talk to underwriters. They will talk to you, they will educate you and show you where some of those lists are or what some of the disqualifiers are. But Misty is correct. Another thing to note, the second reason why I chimed in, Prosperity is an application that's a live app through Appical. You will not, it doesn't save. So long story short, before you're writing that application, make sure that the person that is the signer, for the application, whether they're the insured or, parent that's purchasing a policy, make sure that they are going to be able to access that text message or email that you send them. It's 2 simple signatures for an e-app, but they have to read back or text you back a code each time on each of those 2 signatures, or you won't be able to proceed with the application. And that application doesn't save. So it will time you out. You'll have to restart another app. It's kind of a PITA. So just make sure that you've got the folks committed to sticking around for 20 minutes to sign those electronic authorizations and get that application done.
And yeah, guys, I have the Prosperity under attachments, under like where it says counting what counts, you'll see the Prosperity Prime Term to 100, the RX checklist, and then there's a memorial planner that actually, it looks like I uploaded that twice, so I need to download that for you. And thanks for posting that knockout list, Adam. I'm gonna download that and add it as well. Go for Nora is definitely a good book.
I wanted to talk about the quoting tool.
Yeah.
I was working in on the medical and the prescriptions, and it seemed to me like it was almost an either or. Is that the case? Because I put in the medical and then it went directly to what prescriptions. But when I turned it around and I put in the list of prescriptions, then I got the proper medical diagnosis that I could choose from, which seemed like it was a better way of getting the medical diagnosis in there correctly.
I'm big on get the prescription list, and
Okay.
I know we did this one week, we showed where if you put, say just the medical condition, it may pull up more options, but then when you narrow it down and you really put like the prescriptions, and like the lady Jason wrote with, a couple of weeks ago, like the lady was on, what was it? She had a thyroid issue, Jason? What was the prescription she was on? If it was.
It was
oral?
used for eczema, and it was a topical medication. So again, I called underwriting because it was one of those weird meds that I've never seen. And so when you look it up, I mean, it comes up for organ transplant rejection. So, this client didn't have any organ transplants.
Yeah.
And so I called an underwriter on that one because it wasn't giving me the option to select that medication for topical. And the script was only for 3 days. So, I mean, in that case, I called underwriting on anything that you kind of like, you Google it and it looks like it's death to the world. I'll call an underwriter and explain rather than trying to submit an app and getting, it's a lot of waste of time. So I just like to call an underwriter and talk to them. Hey, this is the medication. Should I proceed with the app? And they'll walk you through it. A lot of them, and that was with MM, the underwriter appreciated, made kind of like a note on that application. I guess they have kind of like a general mailbox where it ties it, but he just made a note to have whoever the underwriter of the day was that got that, application to view it and just do a little extra research on that medication. So it doesn't hurt to call underwriters, long story short.
No, and what I'm finding, guys, it's not hard to call underwriters here either, which is nice. Because, before at that other place, sometimes we would call and, you'd be on hold forever. Here, they're pretty responsive that you get someone right away, which is nice.
Yeah.
And they've all been super, super nice as far as answering questions, getting us whatever it is we needed. So don't be afraid to pick up the phone and just call them. And it's always good. That's how I built all those relationships. How I got to know Audrey Andrews at, Banner last time that, when she was doing that thing that was just for our team, where if you got a decline, it wasn't a decline, you were sending her an email saying, hey, could you take a second look? That's how you build those relationships. So you want to build those relationships with carriers too. I'm looking forward to going out and meeting these carriers next week so we can start building those relationships. Rose at SBLI, we had our own dedicated for our team. We had our own support service, over there. We didn't have to put in support tickets saying, hey, can you reset my link? Or, hey, what's going on with this one? It's been spinning and spinning and spinning. We were like, Rose, Dennis, come on, your guys' stuff is down. And they were like, thanks for letting us know. I'm like, yeah, fix it, like now. That's how you build those relationships. So pick up the phone. Don't be afraid to talk to your carriers. Usually then, you'll find too, if you do have something that's on the fence and you have a relationship with the carrier, just like we had with Audrey, they're going to push it through for your client. Where if there's someone, they don't know you from Adam, no pun intended, Adam, then they're probably going to decline your guy because he's on the fence. So those relationships do definitely matter. Any
The
questions?
same with new business department, because they want your contract. They really do. So if there's a glitch in a typo or any kind of glitch whatsoever in your application, call new business and see what you have to do to get things changed, because some can be complicated and some can be very easy. They can do it. They're right there with you on the phone, and other ones you have to send in forms. So, and if you can avoid that, it's really a good idea. So I got on first name basis with a couple of new business departments. So
That knockout guide is added to our portal now under attachments, right under the prescription list. So you guys should all be able to find it there. If you can also download the one that Adam just posted in the thing. Anybody?
Guys,
Oh, go ahead.
don't be afraid to call people and talk about life insurance. Small amounts, large amounts. I love my Second Amendment right. When we were in the mountains the other day on Thursday afternoon, to be exact, the one moment that I was outdoors without my trusty little piece, which is not little, and I decided to go take a little stroll to go check out a house that's getting built on the side of the mountain. And I thought it was a cat in a dumpster, and it wasn't. And pardon my French, holy shit moment. Walking, trotting back to the house. I couldn't get back fast enough, but you cannot run from bear. And Misty almost had to use life insurance, I imagine. I mean, I never thought this would happen. And I came back into the house. I didn't want to tell them, but then I did tell them because it was literally 2 houses away.
And my dad was walking earlier that
But-
morning too, by himself.
Long story short, insurance is important.
yeah,
Just in case anybody was wondering, he was absolutely a wreck about that bear the rest of the time we were there. Just constantly checking the doors, constantly looking out for that bear.
close the dumpsters.
They
Oh.
open doors. I mean, they're intelligent. They open
are.
car doors.
In fact,
All
we
kinds
were
of
all
stuff.
sitting out at the fire at night and Mark's son, we had another private balcony over by the waterfall, and Mark's son, you forgot about this, didn't you? There was a cast iron like table and chairs. His son moved a chair, so it made this
Oh,
like
yeah.
banging, clanking noise. And instantly I'm like, what was that? And I was in the house. I
We
go
all
in the
did.
house.
We all
I'm like,
we all-
there's a bear.
we all clenched and jumped in that moment. We were like, oh geez.
So we still look forward to traveling with all of you guys, making those same memories. Just so you know. Yeah, I think I was more concerned about claiming the life insurance when we were at the waterfall and my husband kept going to the edge, to the edge, to the edge. And I know how graceful my husband is, and I'm like, stop walking towards the edge. I do not want to make a claim on our vacation. I'm gonna be a great rich widow, which I do not want to be. And I'm like, and you have the car keys, so we can't have you falling over.
And most importantly, we'll be stranded.
away
here.
the
Your body
car
will be floating
keys.
in the water because it's too cold. I'm not getting in there to get you, but I won't be able to leave.
So life insurance is a must.
How long in French do you think it would take a bear to shit in the woods those keys?
Too long.
Oh,
Well, they're carnivores, so I would
probably,
expect it to go through
probably
pretty quick.
wouldn't make it, probably wouldn't make it through. Probably wouldn't make it through. Probably get a perforation.
Like, Mark, you're going in for those, I'm not.
That's the real answer.
I'm very sorry for taking the discussion in that direction.
Well, now we know what to expect.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of you guys have, your carriers have come in. So you guys have gotten even more and more carriers, like Sandy, Diane, I've definitely seen you guys come in. Nicole, I've seen some of yours roll in. Joy, I've seen some of yours, so get in there, guys, start using them. Learn who your favorite, I know who my favorites are, but don't let my favorites be your favorites. Everyone has their own little, you know, perks that they find in carriers, so get in there.
There's 4 to 6 that
So I have a
cover
question.
almost everyone.
I have a client who called back. It was the woman, I don't know if you guys, some of you guys don't remember her. Her husband called for a quote and he said, I'll call you back after my shift, and never called back after a shift. His wife actually called like a week after that because he had passed. So we wrote, I wrote her and I wrote her son, one of her sons, and I couldn't write the other son because he was denied by SBLI because he had a STD and he had COVID. So she called me this morning bright and early and she's like, hey, can we get him? So I'm going to hopefully be writing him tonight. So I was going to, Jason, I was going to look for that look back guide tonight to see if that is on there, to see what, of course I'm going to put him through the quoter and just double check if he's on, if he's been prescribed any new medications and that. But have you guys seen anything coming back like negative against like COVID? That's my concern because that shocked me too, because I don't think it was that. I think it was probably his problem, and guys try telling that to his mother who was trying to get him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I about died.
that's a tough conversation with a parent.
Yeah, run it through the quoter tool, but I mean, don't be afraid to
Okay.
call Prosperity Underwriting and run that through too, because they have some of the most attractive rates. And in probably 5 minutes, you'll know once you talk to an underwriter, call their customer service and they'll tell you.
Okay, I will do that today. Thanks, guys.
I'll be around tonight if you do need any help with that, Diane.
Okay, thank you.
Except for at 4 o'clock, guys, I'm absolutely not available at 4 o'clock today.
So you're available till 4?
Well, I'll be calling my leads too, but yes, I'll be around. But at 4 o'clock, if you reach out to me, I will not be, because I'll be on with my attorney.
So if I have issues today, who's my person I go to?
You go to me.
Okay, Mark. Be waiting for me, buddy.
She's hitting the
I did
phone.
practice. I recorded too, but I'm not sending it to you, buddy. I'm not sending it.
I love how both of you girls just
Well-
go right in there. You're like, yep, we're doing this. We're diving in. Just dive in.
So, Joyanne, somebody's got to listen to it. Are you going to listen to your recordings?
I listen to them and I don't like them.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the whole reason
Send it
that
to
we do
me.
it, right?
I'm
There you
gonna change a few things in my approach just because they don't, I don't know, they don't sound, it sounds like I'm silent. I don't want awkward silence. I want them to know they're okay with me.
Right. And that's just kind of, this is the best advice I could give you. Talk to them like you're talking to somebody you've known forever. I do not talk to my clients any different than I talk to you guys, literally. If my client is like, you know, dropping F-bombs back with me because he's a cool, you know, guy, I'm dropping the F-bombs back. Yeah, it's fucking awesome. You know, they're the super like polite, quiet person. I'm that super quiet, polite person back. It's kind of that sales mirror your client. And this is where I always say,
Mhm.
know your audience. You know, what I might be able to say to Joy, I might have to watch what I say to Linda, because different personalities. And I'm not saying you guys are different, I'm just using you as examples, but, you know, just talk to them as if you've known them forever. And-
What's the hardest question anybody's had, like that they couldn't answer and they needed help with?
On the qualifying, like to get their information to qualify, I'd say,
No, just if your client is asking you questions about what you're selling.
I don't really think I get hard questions for us.
Can you
Sometimes they call
elaborate?
out.
Do you have an example, a question that you've heard
Yeah.
that you had a hard time answering?
Is every life insurance premium, do they stay the same or do they rise? I've done a lot of research on the question, but everything says something different.
So it depends on the policy.
Mhm.
So
I know
let's-
the term policies do.
Well, even some terms, well, yeah, like, so some terms are set up like I'm working with a guy who is like, well, I can get this right now for this rate, but in 5 years it goes up. I'm like, so, okay. And he has like a laundry list of medical conditions, including like he's asthmatic and he's on a prescription that helps with fluid retention.
Hmm.
Married to a paramedic, he's got COPD.
Yeah,
Looking at his prescriptions, the
yeah.
guy's trying to tell me he doesn't. And he's like, I only want a term plan. And like, you don't qualify for any terms. The only term that will even consider you is Foresters. And for what you want, it's 500 a month. Is that what you really want to pay? And he's like, that's ridiculous. I'm like, that's reality. And then he's like, well, I only want 25,000. And I literally send him back a picture showing every term. It says decline. And it shows the 2 prescriptions to why he's declined. And he's still arguing with me. I'm like, did they do underwriting on you, this all state policy that they're offering you? Did they underwrite you? Are you approved? Or is that a quote? Because I can give you quotes that show attractive, but if you don't qualify it, what's the point? And then he's like, well, no, that's what they sent me. I'm like, okay, well, call me back after they put you in that plan and let me know that that worked out. If not, and you find what I'm telling you is that you need a whole life. So either the guy knows he's dying because he has COPD, even though he's trying to say he doesn't.
Congestive heart failure, actually.
Actually, yeah, it was congestive heart failure. Based on, I
He ain't
mean,
get no term product. He ain't get no term product. Come on
no,
now.
and that's what I was telling.
That's
him.
exactly what I said.
Big in there.
And like, this is a better plan for you long-term based on your, and I literally sent him a screenshot showing that it says you do not qualify, like, you know, the 10 carriers that it showed. Because you don't have all the carriers in there because I didn't customize anything. And it shows none of them will cover him with his prescription. And 2 of them it named specifically based on these 2 prescriptions will not consider. So the guy was just like very adamant. He feels he can get this. I'm like, okay, go do your thing with Allstate. And when you find out that, you know, I'm not lying to you, I'm being honest and trying to guide you, call me back and we'll put you in this whole life plan. And I'm like, and I even sent him a screenshot showing those 2 prescriptions were also giving me that red dot saying, based on these prescriptions, it still could cause an adverse underwriting decision. So I'm like, you're even on the line whether we have to give you guaranteed issue. And he's just, some agents are going to tell your clients what they want to hear. Some agents are going to tell them reality. You're not going to win every case, and that's okay, because I wouldn't be able to put him in a term anyhow, so can't get him what he wants. You know, I want to eat at Burns Steakhouse every day, but sometimes I have to go through McDonald's. But, you know, it is what it is. Accepting your, go ahead. Nick.
So, Adam, you have a question for me. Can you word that just a little different for me so I can answer that for everybody? And while you're doing that, Joy Ann, your questions, well, the way you asked that was that you're getting hit with is it a level premium, right? That's what they're asking you. is the
basically,
premium
yes.
level. Yeah. So you can always answer those questions, but like everybody that's on this call, you can always answer that question directly, and you can say it'll depend on what type of policy you qualify for. But I would actually encourage you to say some do, some don't. What is your goal for the coverage? Right? Do your best not to get into long explanations or explaining how things work, Because people it doesn't matter how clearly and concisely you explain anything, they're gonna get confused. You know what it was like to get your license, you know what it was like to go through that course. Do not try to impart too much information on these people, especially early in the call. Understand what they're looking for and go with that, right? Like, this is what you wanted to do, this product will do that. So if there is a temporary concern, like a mortgage or car payment or something like that, and they're healthy, you can say, well, you're looking for a term product, or the premium will be level for whatever term period you pick. If they're older, or they're less healthy, or they express a final expense concern, then the value proposition there is, well, actually, we'll be able to help you get a plan today where the premium will never go up and the coverage will never go down for the rest of your life. And that's what they're looking for if they say those words like final expense or covering burial or funeral, things like that. So
Okay.
answer to your question, you can give them a direct answer, but I encourage you to uncover their why before giving them an answer. And so Adam has elaborated on that question. So Prosperity offers a term product that is more or less a guaranteed issue term product. And it's really cool for the people that need it. And so what it does is it is a decreasing guaranteed issue term product. So there is a sweet spot where it pays out the full death benefit. So during the first 2 years, it's a portion of the death benefit, it's graded. After the 2 years, it pays out the full death benefit. And then depending on the person's age and how it's what they qualified for, it may start to go down in year 15 or year 20, where the death benefit starts to decrease until the person hits a certain age, and then it's gone. So get familiar with that product. It is, well, you're sharing something nice with me. Hang on a second. It is good for the people that need it. I will say that. I will say that. So Adam has shared with me a document, prime to 100. So that is how long it lasts, right? So the term will stay in effect until the person turns 100, but the benefit does decrease over time.
Okay.
What's the name of that policy?
I believe it is, what did you call it?
Prime term to 100.
Yes, prime term to 100.
Okay.
So they have Vista, they have Family Freedom, and then they have the prime term to 100.
Okay.
And the advantage to that is, correct me if I'm wrong, Misty, but term ends at age 80.
Full term ends at age 80, except for, I mean, obviously that one, because it's an odd, it's almost like it converts to a whole life. Like, I think the max is you can go to 30,000 and then it decreases the older you get. It's not a plan I would typically use, but if it is the only thing they can get,
Mhm.
personally myself, I would probably just put them in a whole life.
But sometimes they
all-
won't hear that. So,
Yeah, sometimes.
you know, again, Jason will only drive diesels. So don't try to sell me a gasoline car. Find me a diesel. Analogy.
Okay, one more question.
Yeah, what you got, Joy?
So when they want $50,000 and I can't get them $50,000, is the accidental plan automatic to what I try to pair them with to get what they want?
So that's what I've always done, yeah, like if I have somebody who says, you know, especially like when I was doing mortgage protection, because I live in Florida, and my husband calls it the waiting room. You know, I was constantly getting 70-year-olds who had a $450,000 mortgage, and they're like, I need full coverage. I'm like, well, either you're gonna end up with another mortgage if we do that, or, because and again, I have to piece, because most term will only for that age go up to 150 or 200,000. So my solution was, we're gonna pair it with an accident plan, but I would tell them that's also ending at age 80. So, you know, it's only gonna cover if you like have a fall or vehicle accident, but I would always say it's very inexpensive and it's gonna fill those gaps for you. You know,
Okay,
if I can get you 100,000 for $17 a month, and God forbid if you get in a car accident, now it just became 150,000, because I would use Mutual of Omaha, theirs pays 50% more than any kind of vehicle accident. But, you know, it's worth $17 a month to have that, right? It's just offering, you know, it's an additional app, it's additional APV, makes them feel warm and fuzzy. You never know, could be one of my first claims was a motorcycle accident shortly after I enrolled the guy. Which was sad, but
Yeah.
in that case, it did work out, that, my guy followed that, went with that gap fill, and it worked out for him, or his family, I should say, but,
Mm.
and then, yep, I just pair it with a whole life. I'm like, I'm pairing it with the whole life because this is gonna cover any kind of death. So, we want to make sure you have solid coverage. That way, if you're in a car accident, or, if you have a heart attack, this accident plan is going to cover that. I don't want your wife coming to me saying, hey, I thought we had coverage. Well, he did. He had an accident. He died of a heart attack. That's not an accident. So I want that solid coverage for that too. And if you explain it like that, like I'm putting you in this, I always called it the hybrid plan. I'm like, this is going to make sure your family's getting a check for any kind of death. That way your funeral, their immediate needs, they're covered. Because even though it's not exactly what you wanted, it's not the full amount, 25,000 goes a lot further than zero, right?
Mhm.
And you can add that in the, on the website, like in the agent portal, when you log in, you can add that to the policy. It has an option. I haven't been in there, so I can't, because I'm not writing for anybody, so I don't know.
A lot of the carriers have the accident rider that you can do.
Okay,
I know because you were a new agent, we set you up, you should be getting Mutual of Omaha right out the gate. So when you
I
get,
have it.
yep, okay, so then Guaranteed Advantage is that plan. So you would just write a separate app for Guaranteed Advantage.
Got it.
Oh, you know what? I did one of those on Saturday and didn't post it. I need to put that in the tracker. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
And I need to post it on GroupMe.
Yes, make sure whenever you get a sale that you're emailing me those or texting me it. Like, I need to know the client's name, how much the APV was, and which carrier. One, so I can track, because that's how we promote you up, I need to know where you're at. Otherwise, it might be hard for you to promote up. You don't see what you're putting in. And then two, just to make sure, we're tracking everything, so. Like,
So going,
just for,
Oh.
this morning, I saw Foresters.
going back to Joy's question about like the hybrid. So what's the benefit of doing a hybrid way where you're writing two separate contracts to going just the rider option?
So the rider will only let you usually go up as high, like, as what the policy itself was. So say that it's a $40,000 whole life, you can only do a $40,000 rider.
Okay.
Where the standalone, you could go up as high as 500,000.
Okay. So you can get more coverage by doing, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
The other thing is if, say, they don't qualify for, say you are doing like, a whole life, and say for whatever reason it comes back, they didn't qualify, or that they also didn't qualify for the accident, so they have nothing. Where if you do a standalone, when I would write those policies, I always do the accident first, because now that's issued and approved, that's guaranteed coverage, like they
Okay.
can't be declined for it. So I'd always do that first, because I locked it in. And
Okay.
then I would do the whole life, where if for any reason, on some of the instant decisions, if we got a decline,
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, I'm gonna work on this. Right now, we know we already have you in an accident plan, so I have you somewhat covered.
Mhm.
And then I'd start working on it.
Okay.
They're also less likely to cancel if they have two policies they have to cancel over just one.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of benefits to doing multiple policies. On that topic, I do just want to touch on this though, because this is something I think everybody needs to be aware of. When you do a freestanding accidental death policy, like from Mutual of Omaha, for example, it's going to last until the person turns 80. Okay, so what you need to understand is that they go away, right? So the accidental death benefit rider on your whole life policy.
Oh, you cut out.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'm low battery. So that is the accidental death benefit rider on a whole life policy is whole life with the policy. So what that means is if, let's say you did a 40,000 living promise and you did an accidental death benefit rider and the person made it to 95 years old and then they fell off their chair and broke their neck and died, the policy is going to pay out $80,000. Okay, the accidental rider on the whole life stays with the policy forever, whereas the freestanding eventually ends. So
Okay.
just keep that in mind when you guys are moving forward, that it doesn't have to be either or, it can be yes and.
Okay.
Yes, we do the accidental rider on the whole life because it's permanent, and in the meantime, we do this freestanding accidental because we can get you up to $500,000 for, you know, under $70 a month.
Okay.
Any other questions this week, guys? Or Adam, anything you want to add?
Wait, so that you're writing you're writing the accidental rider and you're writing the accidental freestanding. So there's not going to be a question, are you writing an accidental policy with any other carrier right now that would nullify that?
They don't ask the question about accidental.
They
The
don't.
question of the whole life
Okay.
policy is, does this person have any existing life insurance or annuity products? And if
Okay,
you didn't
thank
already
you.
know this, let me make sure everybody is fully aware. Your accidental death products, your freestanding accidental death, do not qualify as life insurance. They are considered somehow a health product. Don't ask me how or why. I
Okay.
can't explain it, but they do not qualify as life insurance.
Cool.
Thank you, Mark. That's a great point. Thank you.
If I was going to add, I mean, if you're dealing with a first responder, obviously certain ones, accident coverage is important. I don't think this is a right or a wrong. I don't think it's a good or a bad. My position has never been in favor of having a client spend money on accident coverage. That's just me personally. I'd rather take every penny of that and put it in a whole life and or term. But that being said, again, it's not a right or a wrong.
Mm.
If you don't have very many options, you know, I'm used to face-to-face selling, you know, not in the last, 15 years, but, when I've done it, and I could just tell you, if I got behind a client and said, they only sold you accident coverage, I could start planting seeds of doubt in their head. Did they even try to get you this? So again, it's not a right or a wrong. I would just say, listen, everyone would love to walk into the Porsche dealership and walk out with a 911. The bottom line is you need a car to get you around. And there are plenty of cars that are a lot more affordable that will accomplish your goal. So why don't we just lower your coverage? I want to manage your expectations. And at least you go to bed at night knowing you wanted 100,000, but for your budget, 50,000 was the max you're going to get. You wanted 30,000 whole life. For your budget, the maximum was 20,000. Again, it's not a right or a wrong. It's all how you present yourself to them and get a lot of buy-in from it. Again, first responders, absolutely. I think adding that in is critical. Or if they're in a profession that they may be more likely to have an accidental death.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So I can tell you though, I have sold a ton of accidental death. So it's not like you don't sell it when it's applicable.
Yeah, it's more of the situation of the specific person.
100%. I've sold a ton of it. So I'm not a hypocrite here. It's just when it's applicable.
Yeah.
Anything else for this week, guys?
Question, I heard the FTC banned the non-compete ban. How does that affect us?
It's a beautiful thing. I mean, it's not in effect yet, but
Okay,
it says it takes 120 days for it to go in effect from once it's filed. And
okay,
I did see an article where a couple businesses have already tried to sue the FTC saying it's unlawful, but really they've been unlawful towards us, the agents, the workers, because I mean, to Sandy's point, like right after everything went down, why should Sandy be told she can't come work for me if Sandy came to work for me from day one? So just because I'm no longer at Symmetry and she was still there, who are they to tell her she can't follow me and come work for me when I'm who she came to work with from the beginning? Kind of to like Steve Sarkin, he was at Symmetry in the past. He left because he didn't like it. He only came back to be on my team. So to his point as well, who are they to tell him that he can't come work for me? And to be honest, some states they've already had bans on non-compete. So that was one of the things our attorney had kind of pointed out. He's like, a nationwide non-compete is never gonna stand up anyhow, because some states have non-compete bans. So he's like, a non-compete can only be like for, if Keith and I both have like a business that has something proprietary, I'm not setting up shop right next door to Keith, and saying, trying to undercut him. Somebody, and Linda, you had commented on my Facebook post, one guy who has a business in town was like, not for it, because he's like, how fair is that to me to set up a shop? And then somebody set up shop down the street and compete with me. I'm like, well, that to me means you just need to step up, that they would want to come to you over him. You can't penalize your workers for that. That's so unethical.
I once had a non-compete for a radius, get this, of 60 miles. I thought it was the most ridiculous non-compete I've ever seen. I can't go work at a retirement community within 60 miles of myself, and I'm in a retirement area. It was
Believe it or not,
ridiculous.
That
Believe
actually
it or
makes a
not.
lot more sense than a nationwide ban, right? So that actually makes more sense. That's like a
Well,
that's
it
like a
did, because they could
retirement
really
ban.
monitor, me because it was a local market. So I had to go outside of my local market, which was terrible, but I did it. I got
If
through
you
it.
have any questions about the FTC, Misty was playing keyboard warrior with someone yesterday, and I just shared two things. But just understand it's a regulatory agency. It's a bipartisan regulatory agency. It's enacted by Congress. It is a federal agency, and they are championing antitrust unfair labor practices. They enforce, they regulate, they create laws. Some people don't think that they do, but it is a regulatory agency. Just like Customs and Border Protection, they are a regulatory federal agency. So for some people that might want to argue that the FTC striking down a decision doesn't hold weight, okay. They are a regulatory agency.
Yeah. That guy,
Just tell Eminem the FTC doesn't have any teeth.
That was a good one.
yeah, that guy was just obviously, I was like, it seems like you're just a little intimidated by your competition. If you got something of value, or step up, and you don't have to worry about it. Like, I'm not worried about competing with other agencies. As you notice, we didn't make any of you guys buy non-compete saying, hey, if you leave here, to the point, even when I was arguing for Mark and Tom to get over here, you guys are people, we don't own you. I'm a real big believer people thrive when they're in an environment that they like and they're happy. When you have people that are stuck on a team that they don't feel like they're happy, now it's a job. You're going through the motions. And I'm hearing there's a lot of people that are stuck in jobs over there. They're very unhappy with where they're at. They're not, TJ jumped off. TJ, who's one of Keith's leaders, Keith's agents, he's answering questions for his leader. His leader over there can't answer questions. He's answering the questions for her. She's coming to him. But because she hired him, kind of like that other person we don't speak of, he's bumping her up. She's earning promotions, even though she can't do the work herself. We're all about making you guys solid rock stars. We're not looking for any backpacks.
Misty, can I share a quick 2 cents?
Sure.
On the other side of it, right, which I would caution, I'm not a caution person, right, Diane? I tried to recruit some old ladies in the flower shop the other day. Whenever I bring anyone close to anything I'm doing, I better damn well trust them, because I work my ass off for trade secrets, and I'm not about to open them up. And that's one of the things I always honored about Jason and Misty, right? You guys have worked really hard to create some trade secrets. So I understand when I come to this organization and I start to learn your trade secrets, that I'm very privileged in that way. Because as you champion the non-compete, right? Any single one of us could take your trade secret somewhere else and make use of it. And that would suck. That would really suck, but also that's like the reality of the world. So I always saw it as like, look, if you're going to come into my world, into my organization, and you're going to work with me alongside me, number one, you have to earn my trust by your actions. And number two, we have to have some sort of human agreement that I'm helping you grow a business with the tools I have at the side of my hand and my belt, so that you pass that on forward to someone else. And that I'm not teaching you what I've learned so you can take it somewhere else and build. But if you do, right, and I'm the perfect example of this, God bless you, because my idea just went wide, right, at another company. And I sit here excited that my idea went wide, that it worked out, rather than like, oh, you guys suck. Although Misty has seen my letter to them about that. But either way, and I'm hoping she shared that with you, Jason. I just shot it off really quickly. But either way, it's like the flip side to the non-compete for me is if I'm sharing something with you, you're privileged. I want you to have it. I want you to take it everywhere you can, because I'm not sharing it with people that I don't have any kind of trust and respect for, including some of the stuff I've thrown in the group me, like the in video. You guys can do that on your own. I shared like a website building thing with some people here, so I can share that with you. It takes 45 seconds to build a professional website. I'm looking forward to learning how to enhance your lead programs, right? I do a lot of automation stuff. And I just wanted to add to Joanne's question earlier. When I used to teach new agents, right, it was always this thing called ADR, accept, deflect, and re-ask, right? So if someone said to me, what was your question? How do you answer what? It was something about, does this last forever? Or can you say it again?
Going up, that one,
You got on mute, dear.
I'm on mute.
No, her.
Joanne,
My question was, do the premiums always stay the same? Or do they go up and down?
You know what, Joanne? That is a spectacular question. And I can see how having premiums go up would scare you. But let me ask you a question. Why is that important to you?
Because the older I get, I plan to retire and I won't have this much money.
So it sounds to me like you want a program that makes sure that as you retire, you will still have the same policy in place and the same premium?
Correct, sir.
Okay, so then I should probably find you a policy that stays in place when you retire that has the same policy and the same premium.
Yes.
Okay, you see, I never answered your question, and I've just earned more of your trust 3 times, because all I did was recognize that you have a spectacular question. Does that make you feel better about you?
Well, yeah, nobody wants to ask a dumb question.
Right. But when you ask a question, and I don't mean you as an agent, I mean your client asks you that question. My job as their leader is to make them feel better about themselves. They
Right.
don't really care if I know the answer. They want to
They
know
just
that
want to feel
I'm
secure.
there. You go. So I deflected it, right? First, I accepted it. Wow, Joanne, what an amazing question. I can't believe it. Most of my clients don't even know how to ask anything about premiums. I haven't answered your question, but I sound like a really good guy, don't
Yeah, don't you?
I? Okay, then I deflected it. You know, it occurs to me that no one would want their premium to go up, would they? And then I asked the most important question, which really means nothing. If you watch Parks and Recs, there's one where the guy just answers every question with a question. And the person asking the question gets fed up because he keeps answering with questions, right? So I always taught new agents, in any situation you feel uncomfortable, try to recognize them then deflect it away, then ask them another question. So they're just like moving along because they don't really care about the answer actually. And if you don't know the answer, you don't want to look like you don't know the answer, right? Or you don't want to say something that's false. So to me, the most important question I can ask anybody is, why is that important to you? Then you just gave me more information on how to provide you the right policy. I still don't know the answer. I'm sitting here, I haven't done this in quite a while. I don't know the answer if it goes up or down. I don't know all that stuff that Adam and Misty and them just shared. What I do know is you want a policy that does not go up when you retire. Didn't you just say that to me? The answer to that
Yes.
is this one. Now it sounds like I answered your question and I'm the right person for you, doesn't it?
Yes.
And I still have no idea what you were talking about, to be honest. So I just wanted to share that with, because I heard Tony mention anxiety when he calls people. And it's like, people want people asking questions so that it makes them feel good about them and it looks like you're in charge. I've never met a
Okay.
day when I heard Misty not sound like she was in charge.
Yeah,
Not
me
even
either.
one time. Not even one time. And some of the times I really sat back and thought, does Misty know what she's talking about right now? Actually, it doesn't really matter. She sounds like it.
Is she like that at home too?
So a quick way to know if Misty is fibbing or not completely sure of what she's saying, she'll have a smile and her eyes will start dancing and she starts looking away.
Oh. She's
That's cute.
giving away her
That's
poker
so
Very
face.
often, yeah.
We're gonna be watching you.
Yeah. I usually will go look. I look. Like, YouTube is a good friend, guys. There's a million videos on YouTube to learn product knowledge. I mean, most of them are put on our website for us, but that was
Layla sent me a few that were good too. I watched her. She sent me a few.
yeah. If you ever see something that you think is really good and we should add it to our site, just send it to me and be like, hey, I found this beneficial. I'm more than happy to add anything to our site. Because as you guys grow and build, some of your agents are going to be, you know, going through that training portal, so it's helping you. So anything you think is beneficial, just let us know, and we're more than happy to add it. I'm sure once I have time to get Keith to sit still and I sit still and we get together to collaborate, there'll be some more changes on there because, you know, he's quite the innovator.
Well, then it's important to share that the cucumber salad I had at some Mally's and Callie's on Saturday, that was the shit. I was literally drinking it from the cup. It was so good.
Dang.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm a foodie, so to me that's important. It might not look like it, but I'm a foodie. I love food.
I was not going to the place called Hello Cracker. No,
Florida cracker.
Florida Cracker.
Florida cracker, yeah.
That's why I was so proud, Jason. She's teaching your granddaughter about the brown chicken and the brown cow. What can brown do for you?
Yep. She is. She was out running around. Bow wow. Wow. She's got it down.
That's cute.
Like the minute I did that, like I looked at her, I'm like, brown chicken, brown cow. She like, it just reminded me of agents. Like she literally looked at me like, this is how it goes. And she was like trying to say she can kind of get brown cow out. Chicken's a little big for her. She's like brown cow, brown chick, skips over that, bow wow wow. Like just piecing it together. That's how you guys are gonna do it. You're gonna piece it together. It's gonna start rough, but it's gonna flow. Kinda like
Thanks
brown.
for all the eggs. In addition to having me up there at this beautiful home, they sent me home with an assortment of very colorful farm fresh eggs. So
Yeah,
thank
got
you
it.
for the eggs.
My daughter's big on the homestead, so yeah, she has like 30 some chickens that I had no idea there were so many different kinds of chickens out there. Who knew?
Oh yeah.
No idea.
And all different color eggs, brown eggs, blue eggs, white eggs, yellow
Blue
eggs,
eggs,
all.
big eggs. Yeah, all kinds of eggs.
Crazy how the world goes around on it.
Yep. But all right, guys, it's like 12:30. Let's go after it. Your guys' bleeds should be rolling in now, so get after them. And if you need anything, reach out to Mark this week, and he should be up to you. And let's get it. I want to make flyers saying Layla's for sale. Nicole's
Yay,
for
yes.
sale, for sales over here. So
Yeah.
go get it.
All right.
All right,
Bye, guys.
Bye.